The Jets are engrossed in a rather public contract dispute with recently acquired edge rusher Haason Reddick holding out of training camp as he angles for a new deal. Reddick requested a trade out of New York on Monday, prompting the Jets to make clear that no trade was in the cards for the 29-year-old. Here's Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh on the dispute. Gentlemen.
Obviously, we'd love for him to be here, but, we don't judge him for trying to do what's best for him. I think what's best for him is to be a Jet. Because this is going to be a fun ride. But, he's got to make the best decision for him and his family.
How do you avoid this being a distraction?
It's not. I promise you it's not.
Definitely not a distraction. Stephen A., are you buying that?
Oh, no, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. I'm not saying that it's of urgency right now, but the bottom line is you got to have this man. You traded him for a conditional third-round pick, okay? We all know how elite we expect the New York Jets defense to be, particularly since the success of their defense is predicated on their front four and the kind of pressure that they're capable of providing. We're talking about a kid here in Haason Reddick who is the real deal, make no mistake about it. 13 forced fumbles since the year 2020. We know what he brings to the table in terms of the amount of sacks that he's had over the last few years. The brother is real. He's big time. And he's a two-time Pro Bowler, 50.5 sacks over the last 4 seasons, ranking 4th in the NFL behind only T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, and Trey Hendrickson. We know what he brings to the table. I'm not saying, Doggy and Elle, that okay, today it's of urgency, but these are the Jets that we're talking about. You have to take into account the franchise that we're talking about here. You ain't been in the playoffs since 2010. Okay, and the bottom line is that everybody's looking forward to seeing what you can do. You got people prognosticating and projecting that, you know what, you may get to the AFC Championship game. You might be the team that's capable of derailing Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. You might be the team that's capable of derailing a Buffalo in the AFC East, a Cincinnati, Cleveland, or Baltimore in the AFC North, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of that has been thrown on the shoulders of an Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers alone, who ain't been to a Super Bowl since 2010, his damn self, by the way, even though we look at him and we recognize unapologetically his greatness, the fact of the matter is we bloviate about the New York Jets and their potential because we expect this defense to be elite. Haason Reddick is one of those guys. That's the reason you're thinking that way. And so if you're the New York Jets, you need to get him signed. You need to find a way. They're playing hardball with him. I can sort of understand it because you need to at least show up and show your face, show up in the facility to at least talk to people. You might not have to get on the practice field, but at least show your face as opposed to not showing up to mandatory mini camps or training camp. That's not necessarily a good thing. I think that ultimately will end because it's going to cost them too much money. But I do understand where he's coming from. When you traded for him, the belief was and the projections that he put out there was that he expected to renegotiate for a new deal. They need to find a way to get this done. You don't need any more drama because drama has never worked effectively for the New York Jets.
Yeah, Elle?
Listen, I'm with Stephen A. and that they need to get this deal done because I think the significance of Haason Reddick can't be understated. But in terms of it being a distraction? The same New York Jets whose face of the franchise has more vaccine takes than snaps under center, a distraction for the Jets?
Facts.
Like, this is just regular, normal, arbitrary contract holdouts. Like, when it comes to the Jets and the things that they've had to deal with over the course of the last 18 months, this means absolutely nothing. The only person at this point who's distracted, I think, is Reddick's accountant because he's racking up those $1 million fines. But no, he was never a part of this organization. Missing someone that is integral to the fabric of that organization is a distraction should they not show up. This guy's never even been in the building. Will that have some ramifications and implications later on? I think that it will, right? Like, in a perfect world, he gets acclimated to his new team. We're going to talk about the importance of Haason Reddick. But in terms of, like, whether this is an issue for the New York Jets, what? Think about some of the issues, Mad Dog, that they've had to deal with over the last few years. You're talking about a Jets team who, after they introduced their head coach a handful of years ago, had to explain for why he had shifty eyes. Or had to explain for why Sam Darnold saw ghosts. Like, this is nothing. It's par for the course when it comes to standard football procedure, and I don't think it's a distraction in any way.
Well, first off, let's give Reddick some grief because on April 1st, he said, I will definitely be at camp. My contract will not be a problem.
Okay.
So he said, I will be at camp in April 1st, and then his agent's gotten away. This is your only deal. Hold out. And what is he going to do? Not be there opening week and give up $800,000 a game check?
Yeah.
He gets paid $800,000. He's going to be there opening week. He's got no leverage. And the Jets are 100% right. You don't show up, don't show up. You weren't on the team last year. Plus, the Eagles' defense last year was awful anyway with him on it, for crying out loud. But you are 1,000% right. This is not a situation where it's a distraction. Having Aaron Rodgers on your team can be a distraction.
Yes.
Reddick is not going to be that big a deal. Plus, he wasn't on the team last year, as you said, anyway. So they get over it. This is not that important.
Nope.
He'll be there, and he'll be there, Stevie, by week 1. You know that better than anybody.
I just laugh that this man, known as Mad Dog Christopher Russo,
Oh, God, here
who
we
has
go.
negotiated one contract after another over the years. Let's give him some grief. Let's give him some grief. Can we do that for a second, please? Because he said he was going to show up at training camp, and then his agent got involved. This man, all right, who is a veteran, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Mad Dog Russo is a Hall of Famer. He's 64, 65 years old, going on 25, okay? Negotiating new contracts, revitalizing himself. Always listening to his agent, because I happen to know his agent personally, and he's pretty damn great, okay? I happen to know Mr. Monte very personally. The man is an elite agent in this business. And this guy, Christopher Mad Dog Russo, one contract after another. This man negotiates and stuff like that. But far be it for the player in approaching 30 years old to listen to his agent. This is what Mad Dog Russo's going to get on Reddick about. Who the hell is he supposed to listen to? He was told, according to his people, he was told that the New York Jets were going to negotiate a deal with him. They knew he wanted a new deal from the Philadelphia Eagles. They traded a conditional first-round pick to get him, knowing he was looking for a new deal. Let's not act like he's villainized, like he's the villain here. The man was expecting to negotiate a new deal. He said what his agent told him to say, and you, Mr. Hall of Famer, who listens to your agent, even in your 60s, can't knock a dude in his 30s for listening to his representation.
Well, first off, have you ever heard of a messy contractual negotiation that you claim I've signed for the last 40 years involving me?
I'm very familiar with those things.
Yeah,
I'm very familiar
you
with
sure
those
are.
Your contracts are never in the headlines?
But they're not nasty. They not get messy. We do
interesting.
it. We do it quietly.
That doesn't happen here at ESPN.
We do it quietly. Reddick told the Jets, don't worry about the contract. I'll be there at the first day of camp, and then we'll work with it through training camp. And then he doesn't show up. No, that's not the way to do
He
things.
just
you
wants
sure he
to
said
get
that?
paid.
You
He's
sure he
getting
said
paid $15 million a year.
Yeah, he wants more.
Are you sure he said that? Hold
yes,
on, Molly.
I am.
Are you
Yes,
sure
I am.
he
Because-
said that?
Yeah, because on
I mean,
April
the
1st.
the Jets might have put that out there.
No.
The Jets might have put that out there. I didn't hear that from Haason Reddick.
Stephen, April 1st, when they did the introduction, he said, I'll be at camp. Contract or no contract. April
Okay.
1st.
Things changed.
I think he probably already assumed
Okay.
at that point, though, Mad Dog, is that they
agent
were
might have
going
told
to
him
get
to
a
say-
contract done.
Exactly.
You know, you always say the goodwill things you're supposed to say when you first join an organization. This is going to be great. I'm so excited. How many coaches say, I love this program. I ain't going nowhere, only to a couple of weeks
How
later
about that?
bounce. It wouldn't be the first time someone has said something, but I think he was working in good faith in that, to Stephen A's points, the Jets knew he was disgruntled in Philadelphia because he wanted a contract extension. So then you bring him in and you don't give him said extension. I have no issues at all or gripes with what Haason Reddick is doing. It's what anybody else would do in that same
The
position.
facts changed, and then his plans
It's a
changed.
beautiful morning already. First of all, it's a beautiful morning already, Molly, because number one, Elle is just in her brilliance, showing
She's
that she
pretty
agrees
good.
with me.
Yeah,
That's
she's
number one.
better than
That's
you.
number one.
I'll tell you
That's
that.
number one.
She's
And secondly, she's sitting right there checking Mad Dog Russo on his board. It's a girl, you do your
got
thing. You do your thing, Elle Duncan. You do your
Right
thing.
here. Oh, just so much eye contact. Let's go, Mad Dog.
Oh, come on. You can't give Reddick a pass when he says he's going to be here on April 1st.
Okay,
and doesn't
Elle
show up.
referenced the college coaches. That's where we're going to go right now. 'Cause